All right, we're starting 8-6, day 2. Okay, let's start out with this got it problem on page 2 of the 8-6 notes. So remember, we've got a quadratic equation here, and the standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so my a value is 10. Okay, that's whatever comes before the x squared. My b value is going to be 31. That is whatever comes before the x. And my c value is my constant. There's no variable there. Okay, and it doesn't always have to be x. It could be any variable. So c is going to be negative 14. All right, so we need to know that first before we solve this using the x method. Okay, so my a value is 10. So the x method, I got to change that a little bit. Got to make this a magic x. So I got to draw a horizontal line across there. And then if you remember from the previous video, I'm going to multiply a times c. So a times c is going to be 10 times negative 14, which is going to be negative 140. My b value is 31. And then I'm going to write 10x here and 10x here. Okay? And my job now is to figure out what multiplies to negative 140 and adds to 31. When the numbers get kind of big like that, it might be helpful to make some type of list. So I'm going to write negative 140 right here. And I'm just going to start trying to figure out all the factors that work. Okay, and I'll just start with 1 and 140. Then I'll go to 2 times 80. Okay, and I can try 3 times, let's see if it works. Okay, if you're not sure, you can use a calculator or just do some math off to the side. So 140, 3 goes in there 4 times, 12, I get 20. Okay, so this is going to leave me with a decimal, so that's not going to work. Okay, I could try 4. All right, or you can pull up a calculator and just keep going. That would be an easy way. All right, so either way. So 140 divided by 4, it's going to give me 35. Okay, and then my goal is to get two numbers that multiply to 140 but add to 31. Okay, so this is my combination that's going to work. Took me a little bit of work to get there, but this is my combination that's going to work right there. Because if I make this a negative 4 plus 35 is going to be 31, which is what I'm looking for. So my factors are going to be negative 4 and then 35. Okay, now that we've used this here, I'm just going to shrink this down, put it right there. All right, so the next thing that I need to do is I need to treat this kind of like a fraction right here. Treat this like a fraction. So 10 and 4, I can divide both of those by 2, and I would get 5x and negative 2. So one of my factors is 5x minus 2, and I can divide both of these by 5, so this would be 2x and 7. So my other factor is 2x plus 7. Okay, and we can check this using the box method. So if I wanted to check this and see if these are my two factors, remember this can be like your length and your width, and this could be like your area here. So I have 5x minus 2 and 2x plus 7. So let's see if I end up with 10x squared plus 31x minus 14. So this is 10x squared, so I'm good there. This is going to be negative 14, so I'm good there. This is going to be negative 4x, and this is going to be 35x. Okay, notice how that kind of matches up with our table. I'll use purple here. So 35, oops, let's get purple. So 35x, that's where that comes from, and then negative 4 is where that comes from. So that kind of works out right there. And then this adds up in purple to be 31x. Okay, so I'm good right there. So I know that these are my two factors over here. All right, let's do one. I want you guys to try this one on your own. Okay, so pause the video, try problem 3 on your own, and then we'll do one more where we have to factor something out first. Okay, so assuming that you've paused it, let's try this. So the first thing we want to do is identify A, B, and C. So A is going to equal 2, B is going to be negative 13, C is going to be negative 7. All right, and then I'm going to find A times C. A times C is 2 times negative 7, so that's going to be negative 14. Remember, that goes up top here. My B value is negative 13. And then I write 2x and 2x right there. Okay, so I could also write a 2x squared here, and I could write a negative 7 right here, and I can try to guess what this is going to be. I know one of these is going to be 2x, one of these is going to be x. You could probably work that out and try to do some guess and check and figure it out. But if I do the x method, I can find the factors of A and C. So I know that negative 1 actually negative 14 and positive 1 are going to work, because negative 14 times 1 is negative 14, and negative 14 plus 1 is negative 13. So those are my factors. The only thing I have to do is do some reducing. This is going to be 2x minus, or 2x plus 1, and I can reduce this to x minus 7. Okay, so this is going to be x minus 7. And then I have my dimensions, so I can plug that in here, 2x plus 1 and x minus 7. So this is going to be negative 14x, and this is going to be 1x. And if I want to match these up or color coordinate them here, 2x squared is right there. That's where I get my 2x squared from. Negative 7 is right there, my C value. And then in purple here, negative 14 and positive 1. Remember, negative 14 and positive 1 are also right there. Makes negative 13x. All right, so I know that that works out. Okay, so factoring out a monomial first. So sometimes you gotta kind of double factor. You gotta look and see if you can factor out something first. Then you have to use the x method or the magic x. So if I look at all of these terms here, what is the common factor? What's the greatest common factor that I can factor out first? Well, I could factor out a 3. And if I factor out a 3, what's going to be left here? 18 divided by 3 is going to be 6x squared. 33 divided by 3 is going to be negative 11x. 12 divided by 3 is going to be plus 4. Okay, and then you just want to make sure you can't factor this again. So 6, 11, and 4, can't do anything with that. I know that right away because 11 is a prime number. So then I have to use the x method for just this purple part. So it's going to look like this. And now that I know, now that I factor this out, I can list my A value is going to be 6. My B value is negative 11, and my C value is 4. So A times C is going to be 24. And negative 11 here, 6x goes here, 6x goes here. And then I got to figure out what multiplies to 24 and adds the negative 11. So I could do 1 times 24. I could do 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and then this can get me to 11 here. But I have negative 3 and negative 8. Negative 3 plus negative 8 is negative 11, and negative 3 times negative 8 is 4. So there's little tricks you can look for. If this last number is positive, and the middle number is negative, that means we're going to be multiplying two negative numbers together. So this is negative 8. This is going to be negative 3. And then, again, I've got to reduce this. So 6 and 8 can be divided by 2. So this is going to be 3x minus 4. So that's going to be one of my factors. And then 6x minus 3. I can divide that by 3. So this is going to be 2x minus 1. That's my other factor. So this is 2x minus 1. And then what you can't forget about is this 3. We factored out a 3, so we still have to include that. Okay, so this would be fully factored. You maybe could think of this as like volume here. So volume is length times width times height. So because there's 3 dimensions. All right, when we meet on Zoom, we will go over some problems like this. We're actually going to go over, 8.3, 8.4, 8.5, and 8.6. We'll just do maybe one problem from each in our Zoom meeting. Okay, see you guys then.